come from Dublin overnight on the B&I, with the B&I line. Coming into Liverpool was such a fantastic thing. It was early morning and you'd see the sun coming up or the mist on the river. We'd see the lighthouse, the pilot would get on board, the pilot ship would have come alongside, and the river was always so busy. I remember catching sort of sight of the skyline, and particularly with the Liver building and the Liver birds. And that building has always meant something special to me, because it's sort of the start of an adventure in England, which is a land that I've grown to love, coming over from Ireland. And then when we actually got into dock, again there was so much busyness, there was so much bustle and noise. The porters would be crying out and other people would be crying out, and they were all men and women just bustling around and lots of workers. It was captivating. But again, the start of adventures, they started here.
Sam has just today gained his last item of his qualification as a competent member of the crew. So that's all parts of boat handling, from setting the sails to steering a course, to taking the sails down, to starting the engine, to casting off.
Most of the sailing that I've done is on the Mersey, and it's just great fun, because no matter where you go, there's always new stuff to see that we haven't seen before, even though I live here. My grandpa, he was on one of the ships during the war, so he likes to see that I'm getting involved with sailing. I'd want to probably sail over distances more as I get older, but at the moment I'm happy on the river.
Well, it's a fascinating river. It's full of life, full of history, and I'm helping young people to understand their heritage, their maritime heritage of the Mersey. To me, it's just so full of life. We used to spend our Saturday afternoons as a treat walking along the riverfront, but until you came to the Bay Head, the Liverpudlian youngsters couldn't see the river. There was a high dock wall right underneath the overhead railway, and you could see nothing until you actually got down to the pier head, and then you just could watch the boats. Once in a blue moon you could go across to Seacombe and New Brighton on the ferry boat, then you'd walk home once you got back, and that was your day out. Oh, the river has changed in quality. I learned to swim in the River Mersey, but there were unprintable things you could mention floating around in the Mersey if you chose your times wrongly, because they discharged the unwanted mess just before high water, just before high tide, so it would be taken out, they hoped, on the outgoing tide. But now and again the guys operating the gates got the times wrong, and you'd be swimming and all sorts floating around you. You'd have to come in pretty quickly. It was great fun.
I ended up going away to sea in the 1950s, and the job I had, I ended up as what they call like a captain's tiger. You just looked after the skipper and the chief engineer. Yeah, I've been to South America, Buenos Aires, Brazil, and one thing and another, down Recife way, which is brilliant. But, even though we had everything going for us and everything, but it was even better when you used to come down the Mersey here and see the Liver buildings. We were thrilled to bits about it. When we used to be coming home after being away 3 months or whatever, some have been away for 18 months, 20 months and that, and coming round the lighthouse there, the minute you see the Liver buildings, you just bounced, oh, we're home, We used to have a bottle of rum or whiskey, and what we used to call it, crack the neck on it, and drink the rum. Well, I was a rum drinker myself, when we used to dock here, and then first thing we'd do when we went out onto the dock road, we'd go to the first pub, what you seen by the dock gate, and we'd go in there and have a few pints, and you had the girls and all that. Every girl loves a sailor. The dock road used to be swarming with pubs nearly on every corner, and we'd meet mates and that we hadn't seen for a year or two, and we'd have a drink together. We'd all end up K-Lide and end up in the Black Maria then, and down in Cheapside and, in the city centre. home. It was home. Even though we didn't have much, but it was brilliant to be able to come home. It was our livelihood on the docks and everything. It was rough, but we made a living out of it. You see the dockers down. You don't see a docker now around here now. As you can see it looking round here, it's sad, really, extremely sad.